Starting off in this location, you have one of your bonnet hinges, and underneath my hand you have the vehicle identification number. Moving offside from this location, you can see this component here. Now this component here is responsible for controlling several vacuum-powered controlled components. This is the electrical connector that is used to control and power that component. To the right of the box you have your vacuum pipes. This box sits on a bracket. In front of your offside load-bearing member you have your electrical connector for the sensor that tells the driver if the coolant level is running low. To the right of the electrical connector you have your expansion line. You also have on the expansion tank your pressure cap. Underneath the expansion tank you have your supply line. This component here is your diesel fuel filter. Underneath the diesel fuel filter you have your offside chassis rail. Underneath your intercooler outlet pipe you have your return line for the fuel system. Under that same pipe you have your offside engine mount bracket, and to the left of that you have your engine mount. Located to the right of your intercooler outlet pipe you have your timing belt cover. Located just in front of your diesel fuel filter holder you have your offside headlight module. This module consists of your service adjustment to allow service personnel to adjust headlight aim, one of your service covers, your electrical connector to control and power that headlight, and information sticker. Underneath your offside headlight module you have your intercooler. Located to the right of your offside chassis rail you have your auxiliary belt system. This system consists of your crankshaft pulley and your alternator pulley. Moving further down in this location you can see your intercooler inlet pipe. This pipe leads to the outlet of your turbocharger compressor housing. To the right of that same pipe you have your oil sump. In a wet sump engine like this one, the oil sump is there to store the engine oil. Moving further up in this location, you can see your brake fluid reservoir, your master cylinder, your vacuum brake booster, and your two pipes that goes to and from your ABS modulator. With the camera looking down onto the brake fluid tank, you can see the cap. Behind your brake fluid cap, you've got this electrical connector here. Now this electrical connector connects to your sensor that tells the driver if your brake fluid is running low. Moving the camera to the right, you can see your vacuum diaphragm for your exhaust gas recirculation valve. The EGR system is used to reduce combustion chamber temperatures by reducing oxygen contents going into the combustion chamber, and thus reducing oxides of nitrogen. Located behind your vacuum pipes, you have sound deadening on the bulkhead to reduce noise of the powertrain from going into the cabin. At the bottom rear of the engine compartment, you can see your pendulum support. This support is there to try and prevent the engine and transmission from rocking back and forward. Just above that, you have your differential housing. You also have in this location a very critical sensor. This sensor is your speedometer sensor. This is critical because it tells the instrument cluster control unit how fast the vehicle is going. Offside of that, you have your tripod constant velocity joint dust cover. Just above that, you have your oil return line for the turbocharger. You also have in this location your anti-roll bar and one of its bushes, your electro-hydraulic power-assisted steering rack with power steering fluid pipes, your flex pipe for the exhaust, and your gear selector cables. You also have in this location your intake manifold, your exhaust manifold, and your oil feed pipe for the turbocharger bearings. One thing I forgot to mention is you have your two pipes that takes coolant to and from your heater matrix. In front of your intake manifolds you have your oil filler cap, and underneath that you have your camshaft cover. Just in front of your exhaust gas recirculation control valve diaphragm you have one of your positive crankcase ventilation pipes. Moving the camera to this location you have your electrical rail for your glow plugs. Glow plugs are used to heat up the combustion chamber. By doing this you are improving your warm-up times, you're reducing emissions, and you're also improving startup. You also have in this location your fuel temperature sensor and this electrical connector here to control and power your unit injector solenoid control valves. Moving the camera to this location, you can see one of your radiator pipes. This pipe and another pipe are used to take coolant to and from your radiator. Behind your radiator you have your cooling fan. Underneath the oil filter housing you have your oil cooler. Moving the camera to this location, you can see your alternator. The alternator is used to power the 12-volt system when the engine is operating. On the alternator you have cooling holes, and behind that you have your stator windings. The rectifier assembly is critical because it's used to convert alternating current to direct current. Moving the camera to this location, you can see your starter motor solenoid and starter motor. You also have in this location coolant pipes and your aerodynamic shield. Looking down onto the slam panel, you have access panels that you can remove to gain access to the front of the radiator. You also have a cutout for your bonnet safety latch, service information and warning information. Just behind your slam panel you have your air intake pipe. The reason why manufacturers put their air intakes far away from the engine compartment is to take cool air from the outside of the engine compartment, improving volumetric efficiency. Behind your air filter box you have your ABS modulator. Now on the modulator you have your pump, your 2 brake lines that goes to and from your master cylinder, your 4 brake lines that in this case, 2 of them goes to your brake drum cylinders, and the other 2 that goes to your brake caliper piston cylinders. You also have your modulator block, and you also have your electrical connector for the ABS control unit. Moving the camera to this location, you can see your air filter box lid, your mass airflow sensor, and pipe that leads to the inlet of your turbocharger compressor housing. Just underneath that pipe you have one of your EGR coolant pipes. Located just behind your air filter box you have your engine control unit, and just in front of your engine control unit you have one of your vacuum lines. Moving the camera to just in front of your 12-volt battery, you can see your battery tray. This component here is part of your system that holds the battery in the car. Located underneath the battery tray, you can see your electro-hydraulic power-assisted steering system fluid reservoir tank and cap. Located in front of your air filter box, you have your 12-volt battery. This is used to supply electrical power to the 12-volt system when the engine is not operating. But it's also used to supply power to your starter motor to start the engine. Above the 12-volt battery you have covers that covers your fusible links. You also have on the 12-volt battery your negative post, and behind this cover you have your positive post. Moving the camera rearwards you can see your main ground cable, and to the right of that you have your washer fluid cap and neck. This neck leads to your washer fluid tank. Moving the camera more to the right, you can see the location where you attach your prop stick when in use. Located just behind your main ground cable, you have one of your load-bearing members. You also have in this location all 3 of your fasteners that hold the top of the strut, the near side strut, to the load-bearing member. You also have in this location your cover that covers your bonnet release cable. Thank you very much for watching my video and goodbye.